Hello, internet friends, and it's Dave again from Barmetrix. We got a lot of positive feedback from the first video, so thanks so much for that. And we decided to shoot a second one. This time we decided to attack one of the biggest opportunities in any given restaurant or bar, and that is draft beer. So there's a lot of videos out there about maintaining your glycol systems and how to pour a perfect pint, and I'm not going to wear you out with that. The opportunities that we see often are dealing with foaming beer. And I looked through the internet and there's just not a lot out there. So I thought I'd hit you with 3 of my best tips that I give to my clients to combat foaming beer. And that's assuming that the system checks are done, we're in the throes of it, and we have foaming beer issues. Let's start off with tip number 1, and this one's a doozy, all right? So all the time I see bartenders do the classic beer isn't pouring quite right, tilt it at a 45, pour it down the drain until we have a viable pint, and serve. The problem with that is a reoccurring theme in all my inventory videos and conversations that I have is your inventory is simply cash converted, and we're not thinking about pouring that foam down the drain as pouring dollars down the drain. And I'm going to do a little bonus content at the end of this as to why I think that is. But for now, tip number 1 is treat this like a Guinness. So pour it to 70%, let it set. If we're doing our job and we're staying ahead of the game, our guest isn't out of beer. And if it's the first beer, we've greeted them within 30 seconds. We've said, welcome to the venue. They see us pouring the beer. What guests don't like is being ignored. They see that we're preparing their beer for them. In fact, it's a great time to maybe pour other things, create a cocktail, or go have a conversation. There's a lot we can do in 30 to 60 seconds that it's going to take to let that beer settle. Then we come back to it 70%, top that bad boy off, and deliver it to our guests. There's absolutely no need to pour beer down the drain. Which leads me to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is this, and this is stuff that I've just discovered over the years. Not all lines pour exactly the same. This venue was an example where we had some lines with longer runs, and we had high volume product on those longer run lines because they were easy to change. Where they were located in the keg room was right inside the door. They were quick changes, but they were the worst performing lines. Put your high volume products on your best performing lines, and if you have lines that are chronically giving you trouble, you put cider and nitros on those lines. And I've had that work out like a charm. Not everyone has inconsistent lines, and if you have a great system, all your lines are going to be pouring the same. But when they're not, that's an opportunity in the business for you to take advantage of. The third thing is 86 it. I know it sounds so simple, but I was another client last week who had some disruption with kegs in their business, and it was Friday night and they were slammed and they just poured foam through 2 full kegs trying to manufacture some pints, and we ended up pouring 50 pints out of 1 half barrel, and I think we got 70 out of another. So we donated basically 50% of those 2 kegs right down the drain. And I can't imagine a world where we would pull, $130, $140 out of the cash drawer, rip it up and throw it out. That's basically what we did, right? We took that money and we lit it on fire. And you say, hey, look, we're trying to get the beer out for the Friday and Saturday night, which I totally get. Problem is now we ran out on Monday and Tuesday for those guests. You lose on both sides of the equation. I'd rather you 86 it. Get people into some other products. We had substitutes in bottles. People will survive that. I just don't subscribe to the idea that the best option is to pour your inventory, i.e. cash, down the drain. So now for some bonus content real quick, why does that happen? Why do we have this mindset that we're willing to pour inventory down the drain? Here's what I propose. A lot of people don't actually know what's going on in their draft program financially. Meaning, if you're not using scales, if you're not using some version of an inventory program, and you've got your bar manager or a bartender who comes in and does counts, and they go into the keg room and they slosh that keg around and say, hey, that's 50%, that's 70%, that's 10%. You come back and you run the draft numbers and it says, okay, based on those numbers, your draft program's at 34% cost. People don't report that number. They go, oh, I might have been feeling a little strong today. I think there was more beer in those than I thought. They add 10% to all the kegs. Now the draft number is 23%. Good, turn that in. So if you're not reconciling your true inventory, and by that I mean you're weighing your kegs, and you're not reconciling that against your draft sales, you really don't know what's going on in your draft program, which is why people walk by the foam and just allow for people. What other reason would there be that people would allow that to happen in the business without it going questioned? And that happens all the time. So I implore you to get really good data in your draft system. So let's review real quick. 1, pour it like a Guinness. That's gold. Don't have that service imperative where you'll see people, I've got clients where we switch that program and the bartenders are itching to serve that thing. It's all right, man, it's cool. Let it settle, have a conversation, do a few other things. It's all gonna work out. Pour it like a Guinness. 2, put your best performing, match your best performing lines with your high volume beer, and don't be afraid to put cider and nitros on those lines that just won't cooperate. 3, 86, it's better than pouring it down the drain. Like there's nothing good happens. No one benefits. The customer's not benefiting. You're not benefiting. As an owner, the bartenders aren't benefiting from pouring product down the drain. The only people that win there are the distributors, God bless them. And then the bonus content, make sure you've got real data, measurable data in your draft and keg program. So I hope you found that helpful. If so, love it if you'd like us and follow us at Barmetrix ATL RDU, and look forward to chatting with you next time. Take care, my friends.